Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video. It is Jackstown. So for today's video, we're going to be doing something that hopefully we could end up doing every week because it sounds like fun and why not? And that's recapping the past week of the NFL season. So week one is in the books. It was a great first week. We had a lot of great games, a lot of great moments. So here's something that we could do every week after the previous week is over, and that's first counting down our top 5 moments, the 5 moments that I liked best this past week. Now, the reason why I say moments and not plays is because these could be plays, like highlight plays, super impressive plays, but they could also be things that on the surface aren't that impressive of a play, but may symbolize something bigger or just something that was great to watch. So we're going to be counting down our top 5 moments first, and then we're going to be recapping the picks I made for this week that I made our last video. I think that was a few days ago. It might have been on Wednesday night, and I posted it on Thursday morning. So we're going to be recapping those picks, and we're going to see why my picks were quite horrendous. So first we're going to count down our top 5 moments. So here we go. All right, at number 5, I have Joe Burrow's absolute dime to Jamar Chase. Now this play was super impressive. Joe Burrow made a perfect throw to Jamar Chase on the outside, but I think what it symbolizes is beyond just the play. Of course, Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase were teammates in college, and they were a great duo. And a lot of people were critical of the Bengals for drafting Jamar Chase instead of an offensive lineman to protect Joe Burrow, but they believed in the chemistry that these two guys had in college, and this play symbolizes, I think, a bright future for these two guys. And Jamar Chase, at least in week 1, has proven, despite a poor preseason and the Bengals taking him, that he is a pretty good draft pick so far. At number 4, I have Ryan Succop's game-winning field goal for the Buccaneers against the Cowboys on opening night. Now, this is another play that symbolizes beyond just the play. It's not really a highlight play on its own, but it just symbolized a great opening night, possibly the best first game I've ever seen in my NFL experience as a fan. It was a great game, back and forth. Tom Brady, 44 years young, proving he still has plenty left in the tank. Just a terrific game. Credit to the Cowboys. They impressed a lot of people. Dak Prescott looked great. Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb looked great. Zeke did not, but that's okay. It was a great game. Both teams showed out. Terrific opening game and a great sign for things to come this upcoming season. At number 3, I had Matthew Stafford's 2 absolute dimes to first Van Jefferson and then second to Cooper Kupp. These 2 passes symbolized a great debut for Matthew Stafford, where he seemed to be clicking on all cylinders to his entire team. He looks like a great fit in LA, and I'm really excited, if I were a Rams fan and just for the NFL, to see Matthew Stafford finally have the chance to be a great quarterback on a great team. All right, these next 2 plays are strictly highlight plays. They don't symbolize anything beyond the ridiculousness of the play themselves. At number 2, I have Kyler Murray's scramble against the Titans. Now, if you guys haven't seen this, you're going to be blown away. I'll just let you watch if you haven't seen it.
Number 48 for the Titans. He's pressuring Murray. Stops on a dime. Rolls to the far side. Not much is there. Steps back and throws, and it's caught by Moore.
So, Kyler might win an MVP once or twice in his career. How about that? The Cardinals were super impressive. I saw most of this game against the Titans. Their defense was surprisingly excellent on Sunday, despite having problems in years past. J.J. Watt so far looks like a pretty good addition to the team, as he pretty much was a big piece in shutting down Derrick Henry and the entire run game and the entire offense of the Titans, pretty much. Kyler Murray looked fantastic. Looks like he's only going to get better, like I expect him to. I think he's going to win an MVP at least one time in his career. He looks like a superstar already. Super excited. DeAndre Hopkins looked great. Christian Kirk looked great. And Rondale Moore, the rookie, looked great. The Cardinals as a team looked really good in week 1. And the number 1 moment of the week is this incredible catch by Scary Terry McLaurin. Just watch it if you haven't already.
Heineke pump fakes, puts some air under it. McLaurin wide open, and it is caught.
Saw a similar call, and then watch this catch. I mean, watch this concentration right through the hands.
I mean, I don't even understand how it's possible to contort your body in that fashion and find a way to pull that football in the tightest of spaces, the tightest of windows. I think Terry McLaurin's actually already one of the more elite receivers in football. I think he's underrated. I just think that because Washington doesn't have a great offense and never had a great quarterback, or at least not recently, he doesn't really have the chance to shine as much as other receivers. But even though Fitzmagic's hurt, Taylor Heineke seems to have a pretty good ability to throw the ball. So I think Terry McLaurin's still going to have a terrific season no matter who's the quarterback. But yeah, he's a pretty darn good receiver. All right, guys, now we move on to the individual games themselves. We're going to be reviewing the picks that I made and why they were not very good at all for week 1, but still had a great week, of course. And trying to take away at least one thing from each team. Of course, it is just week 1, so we don't really know. A lot of things could change. You can't really make too many conclusions after just week 1, but just some of my opinions on what you can take away from each team just by the first game. By the way, I did pick the Cowboys winning this game, but no regrets because a lot of people thought the Buccaneers were going to beat them down. It wasn't going to be close. I had a feeling the Cowboys would surprise some people, and they did end up doing that, so no disappointment with that pick, but I did ultimately get it wrong. All right, next we have Seahawks and Colts. I had the Seahawks winning, and they ended up winning because Russell Wilson was cooking. He found Tyler Lockett for 2 touchdowns. DK Metcalf scored 1. And the takeaway from this for the Seahawks is that their offense looks good, revitalized, and they look like a Super Bowl contender right out of the gates. The Colts should still be a pretty good team, but they still have things to work on. Carson Wentz wasn't looking great, but he is recovering from a foot injury, so I think the Colts will get better. They still have a pretty good amount of potential, so that's the takeaway from that. This next one, it probably hurts the most, to be honest, guys, because I am a Jags fan, and I did predict them to beat the Texans, just like most of America did, but the Texans beat us down. It wasn't a terrible debut for Trevor Lawrence. I did watch this entire game. He made a lot of good throws, especially the one where he found DJ Chark for a touchdown. He did have 3 touchdowns, over 330 yards, but he did have 3 interceptions, so he looked like a rookie, but did show a lot of potential, so I'm not too worried about him. I think he'll still have a very good season and career. The Texans, though, I gotta give him some credit. Tyrod Taylor looked pretty good. Their run game with Mark Ingram looked surprisingly good, so I gotta give it to the Texans. Still don't expect them to be that good, but a good start for them, and I give them credit. This next one's really surprising. Eagles and Falcons, Battle of the Birds. I had the Falcons winning, and they did not even come close. Jalen Hurts and the Eagles, they played fantastic, offensively and defensively. They shut down the Falcons entirely. Looked great as a team. Jalen Hurts was fantastic. Miles Sanders looked great, and I think the Eagles are going to be a little bit better than we thought, and it looks like Nick Sirianni, at least from week 1, was a pretty good hire. Jalen Hurts, I think, is going to have a bright future. The Falcons, they got some things to work on, but I wouldn't worry too much because I think their offense still has a lot of good players, and they're still going to be fine on the offensive end. Next, we have Chargers and Washington football team. I did have the Chargers winning. They did win. Justin Herbert against one of the toughest defenses in the league. Threw for well over 300 yards. Looked great. Picked up right where he left off last year. Ryan Fitzpatrick, I feel bad. He got hurt. He hurt his hip. So Taylor Heineke's now going to be taking over for the foreseeable future. I still think Washington has a good chance to win the division with that incredible defense they have. And Taylor Heineke is not a bad quarterback. I don't think he's too much of a downgrade compared to Fitzmagic. But yes, the Chargers did look great, and I think they're a dark horse team to win the Super Bowl this year or be contenders. Steelers and Bills, another surprising game. I had the Bills winning because the Steelers collapsed at the end of last year, and coming in, the Bills were favored, but they struggled, and credit to the Steelers defense that looked great. They were down early in this game, but they came back. Big Ben led a couple drives. Overall, wasn't a pretty game, wasn't a lot of great offense being displayed, but the Steelers did defend very well. They did lock down Josh Allen. So good for the Steelers. I think their defense is going to be one of the best in the league, especially after that performance. So they look like a pretty good team down the road. All right, 49ers and Lions. This is a little bit of a misleading score. I did have the 49ers winning, just like most people. The Lions were down at some point, I think like 38-10. The Niners were beating them down, but Jared Goff came back in garbage time. So for fantasy owners, if you own Jared Goff, if you're in a deep league or something, or the Lions running backs, or just the Lions players overall, they did compile some nice stats towards the end, but don't be fooled. This wasn't really a close game. The Niners were in control most of the game. They're going to be pretty good because their offense is pretty good, but I do feel bad because they lost Raheem Mostert to injury for the entire season. But that backup guy, I forgot his name. Hang on, I'll know his name next week, but whoever's the Niners running back, they have a good system. They run the ball well. They're going to be just fine. Next, Vikings and Bengals. I had the Vikings, and they lost because the Bengals surprisingly played some solid defense. Of course, Dalvin Cook did have a costly fumble towards the end. It went to overtime. Credit to the Bengals. Joe Burrow, I think he's going to have a great year. They looked pretty good, and they won in overtime on a field goal. So good for the Bengals. I don't expect them to be a playoff team or anything, and I don't expect whatever expectations people had for the Vikings, I don't think they're going to be a playoff team. So yeah, but credit to the Bengals. Good job for them for pulling out that win. Jets and Panthers. I had the Jets in a semi-upset, but I was wrong. It wasn't too pretty of a game. Zach Wilson actually did look pretty good for a rookie in his debut on the Jets. So pretty good debut for him. Sam Darnold had a pretty nice debut against his former team, little revenge game. McCaffrey looked good, looked healthy. So I would say wasn't the prettiest game, but the Panthers ended up winning. Sam Darnold looked good. Both QBs looked pretty good. And yeah, I got that one wrong. Another one I got wrong. This one is the one I'm most proud of. I said the Cardinals would win. I just really like their offense, and the Titans have defensive problems, and that was just amplified even more in week 1. They have a lot of question marks on the defensive end, so they got to go check that out. Go look, review, whatever it is, figure it out, because it wasn't working week 1. Kyler Murray looked great, and what my takeaway from this game is that the Cardinals are legit, and Kyler Murray has a chance to be an MVP candidate, maybe win the MVP this year. That's how good he looked. All right, next, Browns and Chiefs, maybe one of the games of the week. On paper was probably the game of the week, and it did not disappoint. The Browns were up most of this game, but the Chiefs came back because the Browns had some costly turnovers. Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, those guys just doing the thing we expect them to do, and that is succeed and just dominate the game of football. They all looked great. Chiefs looked right where we expect them to be, an elite team. And yeah, great game though. Browns did look good for most of this game, so I wouldn't be too discouraged if I'm a Browns fan. Next, Dolphins and Patriots. Oh, by the way, I did have the Chiefs winning that game. Dolphins and Patriots. I had the Patriots winning this game, and they were in field goal range towards the end of the game, but Damian Harris fumbled, and the Dolphins ended up winning the game with their really good defense. It was more of a defensive game. Credit to them. Tua looked pretty good, especially against a Bill Belichick coach team and a really good defense on the road. So credit to him. Mac Jones also looked pretty good, so credit to him as well. But yeah, Dolphins ended up winning, and I got that pick wrong. I fully expect the Dolphins to potentially be a playoff team and maybe even a dark horse contender. Both teams are really good. I think they both have a shot at the playoffs and the division for sure. Broncos and Giants. I didn't watch any of this game. I told you guys in my last video I would not be watching this game, and I didn't. But from what I heard, Teddy Bridgewater played pretty well, and the Broncos ended up winning. Daniel Jones didn't look great because he just keeps fumbling the ball. The Giants, they have a lot of question marks. That offensive line is terrible right now. So yeah, that was bad for the Giants offensively, and the Broncos, credit to them putting up 27 points against a pretty good Giants defense. Credit to Teddy Bridgewater. Pretty good performance for the whole team, I would say. All right, next we have Packers and Saints, which was, I just got to say, Packers fans might have had the toughest week. They got absolutely beat down. Aaron Rodgers might have had the worst game of his career. He looked really bad. Their offense overall was just dead. But Jameis Winston might have had the best game of his career, threw 5 touchdown passes. The Saints defense, though, you got to give them credit. They were fantastic. And Jameis Winston clearly looks like the right choice at QB. I was an advocate for Winston over Taysom Hill all day, any day, pretty much throughout the entire offseason, because Jameis Winston's more of a true thrower of the football. But yeah, great job by the Saints. They have some potential this year. The Packers, I would be concerned definitely because of how they played and Aaron Rodgers not being on the best of terms with his team. But I wouldn't be worried or panic yet because it's just week 1. If the Packers do something similar to this next week against the Lions in Lambeau, then I'd be concerned. But give them a little bit more time. But I would be worried. But for now, I'm concerned. But give them a little more time before you panic or you're worried if you're a Packers fan. So yeah, just give them a little more time. But terrible start to the season though. Bears and Rams. What a great start for Matthew Stafford to his career. As a Ram, I would say. What a great Rams debut for him. Made some incredible passes. Looked right in sync with all his teammates. Sean McVay looked like a proud coach. And the Rams looked like a very smart team for trading for him for Jared Goff, because he looks like a clear upgrade. The Bears, why don't they just start Andy Dalton? I've been saying this all along. Justin Fields scored a touchdown, and he didn't even start the game. Andy Dalton looked horrendous. He should be gone soon. Hopefully, please, Bears. And yeah, they got things to work on. Rams look like a legitimate contender and definitely division winner potentially. And yeah, by the way, I did have the Packers beating the Saints. I was very wrong on that. Rams beating the Bears, I did have that right. Next game I also got wrong, and that's Raiders and Ravens. I might have said for sure that the Bucs and Cowboys was the best game before last night because the Ravens and Raiders played a wild and exciting game. The Raiders pulled off the upset in their debut with fans in Las Vegas. Derek Carr looked great. It was such a back and forth game. Went to overtime, several possession changes. Just when you thought one team was going to win, they didn't, or things turned around really quickly out of nowhere. Raiders and Ravens played a fantastic game. Raiders pulled it up. Credit to them. Credit to Derek Carr, Darren Waller, just as an entire team. They were pretty impressive, especially against a really good defense in the Ravens. Yeah, and I got that one wrong too. So let's just finally review how many I got right and how many I got wrong. So Cowboys, Bucks, I said Cowboys, I was wrong. Seahawks, I was right. Texans, Jags, I was wrong. So we're now 1-2. Eagles, I was wrong. 1-3. Chargers, I was right. 2-3. Steelers, wrong. 2-4. Niners, I was right. 3-4. Vikings, Bengals, I was wrong. 3-5. Jets, Panthers, I was wrong. 3-6. Cardinals, Titans, I was right. 4-6. Chiefs, 4-7. Oh, actually, no, 5-6, I was right. Dolphins, I was wrong. 5-7. Broncos, Giants, who did I say? Giants, but didn't really care. 5-8. Packers, I was wrong. 5-9. Rams, I was right. 6-9. Raiders, I was wrong. 6-10. So in the 16 games, I went 6 out of 16 with a 6-10 record. I was wrong on more than half of the games, a good amount over half of the games. So it was a pretty pathetic performance for week 1. But yeah, we're gonna hopefully. One other thing we can do is when we make these weekly videos, we can add them all together. And at the end of the year, if I'm not over 500, I get punished somehow. I will do something. We'll see. But yeah, it was a really fun week 1. Not for betting, for me at least. I didn't place any bets, but if I were, I would have not been happy. Didn't pick that well, but it was a great week. A lot of great moments. I thoroughly enjoyed it, guys. Hope you did too. And tomorrow we'll be making our week 2 predictions, so stay tuned for that, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.